Hi people, it's geolocation chart again. I'm going to do Finland really quick. So yeah, let's get started. We have the pot of fortune in Cancer first, as well as Mars. The pot of fortune is in the first house, Mars is in the second house. Now, the pot of fortune in Cancer in the first house, in Finland's case, means that Finland is a country that is very frigid, geographically speaking, with highly potent rivers and or bodies of water and whatnot. The landscape is very frigid and moist in general. And the fact that the pot of fortune is conjunct the second house stands for the fact that there is a lot in the way of income that it provides for Finland as a country as a whole. Mars in Cancer in the second house stands for the fact that men, generally speaking, are limited in how much money they can make off of the aforementioned, which causes frustration. The Earth is in Virgo in the fifth house, which stands for the fact that people, generally speaking, wish that there was more work in the entertainment sector, as well as the fact that it was warmer, not tremendously warm, but in their opinion, it things could stand to be a bit warmer rather than the opposite, as you can tell, which is the case by default with the sun being in Pisces and all, not to mention all the other seemingly innumerable planets in the same zodiac sign, but I'll get to that later. Lilith is in Libra in the sixth house. Stands for the fact that there are hidden romances that take place at work, which is not uncommon, really, generally speaking. So people get involved with each other romantically at work, think work colleagues and whatnot, but they generally speaking keep it hidden and or private, which I completely understand. Common sense tells you to do so in order to avoid any kind of potential troubles and negativity. Juno is in Sagittarius in the same house, so the sixth house, which stands for the fact that um, quite the same thing and or similar as is said with Lilith happens, but with foreigners, generally speaking. Think of tourists and whatnot. So local or native Finnish people, they on occasion, a small amount of them or percentage of them gets involved with the foreigner because they get to know the person and whatnot, and it just goes on. Seventh house empty, just like the fourth house. Nothing mention worthy, honestly. Third house is also empty. Nothing worth said. Nothing worth being said. Eighth house as well. Tenth house as well. So remaining is the ninth house, the 11th house, and the 12th house. We've got Pluto and Pallas in Aquarius. Pluto is conjunct the ninth house, which is ruled by Capricorn, and both Pluto and Pallas are conjunct midheaven, which is also ruled by Aquarius. And it's in the ninth house, of course. Now, this stands for the fact that there is a considerable influx of great influx of foreigners um, that come from abroad, whether they're tourists or otherwise, into Finland. That obviously provide Finland with a great service overall, with their presence overall, and the reason for that is weather. Foreigners that are specifically fond of the weather, the way it is configured and whatnot. So people that like the cold, and that people that usually adversely come from warm places in the world or places where it's not even remotely cold or similar, or just for a change of pace or things, or for the sake of experiencing frigidity. The 11th house, by far the most potent house. In total, we have the Sun, Saturn, Mercury, Neptune, the Moon, and Venus. All, with the exception of Venus, are in Pisces. So we have five planets in Pisces and one in Aries. We have Ceres as well in Pisces, and I'm just gonna ignore the notes. Nothing mentioned worthy there. And Chiron also in Aries. So in total, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight celestial bodies in the 11th house. Hoo-ha. Yeah. Anyways, it stands for, just like I said, not to mention the fact that the 11th house is quite strong because it's ruled by its natural ruler, so Aquarius. It is ridiculously cold in Finland, like one of the coldest countries in the world, at the very least. One of the coldest countries in the world. Um, Saturn and Mercury are not at their best in Pisces, meaning that the cold can literally kill you. If you're locked outside, for example, for a couple of days, yeah, you can seriously turn into an ice pick, hypothetically speaking. And Mercury there also stands for the fact that the cold, prolonged exposure to the cold, obviously is hazardous to your health. If you don't die, then you're going to be left ill, uh, best case scenario, or not feeling all too well. That's why the Earth, like I've already said earlier, is opposite. People wish it wasn't that cold. They don't need it to be like 35 degrees, like brutal tropical. But generally speaking, the Finnish population wishes that, 10 degrees, 15 degrees is not too much to ask. If it wouldn't be too much to ask, they wish that that could be the case rather than what you're seeing here, the present, or which is the case by default. Um, Venus is in Aries, which stands for the wilderness in general and how rugged it is. The wilderness, just like any other wilderness, is rugged and and by default can kill you. The elements are primal in nature. That's what it stands for. Um, this also stands for the fact that coupled with Chiron, coupled with the fact that the 12th house is ruled by Aries, that people do whatever it takes to keep them warm and whatnot. They are, Chiron says that at least at a minor level, they are adept at shielding themselves from the cold by using simplistic things such as wearing extra thick jackets, gloves, and whatnot, drinking hot stuff, you name it, doing whatever they can as people to keep themselves warm and to fight off the cold. That's what all of this stands for. Everything in Aries pretty much stands for that, other than what I already said. Last but not least, we have the 12th house. We have Uranus is in Taurus, which stands for what I already said regarding the cold. People simply use mundane things like jackets and whatnot to fight off the cold, which costs them a moderate, I mean, at absolute best, a moderate amount of money, generally speaking, minor, compared to an individual's overall life expenses and or expenditures. And last but not least, we have Jupiter and the ascendant. Jupiter is almost aspected the ascendant, almost conjunct, but it's not. It's like 9 degrees, 9 degrees and 19. Yeah, 9 degrees and 19 minutes. And the conjunction stops traditionally or conventionally at 8 degrees. In any case, Jupiter is in Gemini, which stands for the fact that for people, generally speaking, life is just daily life, going through the motions and whatnot. That's what life at its absolute most looks like. The absolute majority of life looks like that. And people are more, they lead their lives in secret. No one is interested in mundane activity, so it goes by unnoticed, largely for the absolute part unnoticed. And the ascendant also says the same thing essentially. The ascendant simply says that both the landscape, other than what I already said, is just the landscape overall, not just people's lives, but the landscape, generally speaking, is also of a mundane nature. Nothing like mention worthy, nothing that truly stands out geographically exceptional, wise, and whatnot, other than what I've already said. And that is it. See you guys later. Bye.